If you've ever had a toddler, this has crossed your mind. How do I get my child to try new foods?
Is it possible? Just like with a lot of other things, let's start with why. Why do you want your kids to try new foods?
That's a great question to ask yourself.
And be real. If this is really about you looking good as a parent or feeling like you're doing your job, okay, well, acknowledge that. But what if it's about your kids' health? You know, their nutrition. That's a whole different why.
Or giving them a new opportunity so that they can be exposed to different types of foods so that they can enjoy eating at other people's homes and things like that.
It really opens up not only their opportunities for better health and nutrition, but just the way that they experience the world if they're open to new things.
Right.
So take a look at your motivation. We're going to start there because how you show up as a parent is determined by what's driving you.
So in trying new foods, one of the best things to start with is to be an example. I know a lot of
Are
people...
you tired of hearing this?
Every time you turn around, be an example.
It's so important because your
It is.
kids are watching you. And if you want them to eat healthy foods, well, what are you going to be doing?
Right. You want to have a healthy relationship with food and show that to your children.
Right. You know what? I always think about our daughter-in-law and our grandkids. Because our grandkids, it's so fun when we visit them. They'll come out with like a cucumber.
They're just eating
A
it.
whole cucumber,
Yeah.
just eat, or a pepper
She has
or
always
something.
gave them really healthy choices, made them available, and the kids love them, but she also eats really healthy too. So.
Right. And making it fun too. It's not like, oh, you better eat this thing. It's like, hey, do you want one of these?
Yeah.
And maybe at first they're going to be a little tentative about it, but as it's made available, as you show a good example, as you make it fun, kids are going to respond to that. And there's a lot of negative patterns that we get into sometimes trying to make sure that our kids eat their vegetables, right? In fact, just use that as a red flag. If you're thinking, I need to make sure that my kids, whatever, you're getting into dangerous territory because that's where the control battles start to happen. This is one of those areas where you don't want to get into a control battle. And why not?
Because you cannot actually win it. You
Good
don't
point.
have control over what they actually ingest.
Right. And if there's going to be a control battle, overeating, the kid's going to win that one every single time. We're dealing with small people. So maybe we should notice that.
And start small. You know, I used to do a lot of work birth to 3. I'd go into the homes as a speech language pathologist and help parents with children who were high risk or had some birth defect or something. And we worked a lot with feeding specialists too. And so a lot of children will have really sensitive eating, or there'll be, texture issues and lots of different things. And one of the things the feeding specialist said is always at least have the food be available. You have the kid that if you even put the carrot on the plate, they throw a ballistic fit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you kind of want to start right from the very beginning, right when your babies are little, that the vegetables are on the table. They're there, and maybe even put a few on their table.
The plate.
Put them on the plate. And you can just start small, and you can't force them to eat it, but at least allow it to be there. Allow it to be present. Allow them to know that it is a good choice out there, and to see you taking that and eating that. And I know 2-year-olds generally have like 5 foods they like, but let's keep making sure all the other food groups are present and available.
Well, this is bringing something up for me, Vicky, because I'm a little bit of a control freak. And what if I want my kids to eat everything on their plate?
That's a really great question, because that is an issue that we run into a lot. A lot of us were raised that way, where you are supposed to eat everything on
It's
your
our
plate.
programming.
So you're going to want to probably maybe talk about that with your husband, how you want to approach things. My recommendation is not to encourage your child to eat everything on their plate, but to eat until they're satisfied, eat what they need until the next time food is available.
Right. We're really creating a culture and a relationship with food. as we work with our kids over this issue. We don't want it to be a control battle.
That brings up the issue of trying to take the emotional factor out of it.
Good point.
So you don't want to approach it with anger or approach it with manipulation or approach it with threats.
If you are so emotionally tied to the outcomes here, then you are in a vulnerable position for getting into a power struggle that you can't win. So detaching yourself from it emotionally actually puts you in a position of greater power and influence as a parent. And it also increases the likelihood that your child is going to have a positive experience with this.
Right.
So I brought up the thing about a control freak because aren't we all kind of control freaks when it comes to parenting? But what if this is one of those things that we wouldn't have to, be so controlling about? Instead, we're creating these opportunities like we've talked about here in this particular episode. And we did another episode also about how to deal with picky eaters.
Yeah.
And you can link to that right up there on that little card.
Go take a look at
It'll
that.
cue
You'll
it
get
up
some
for
other
you.
ideas there.
Right.
We hope this was helpful, and we love to be on your team. We have a whole lot more videos and a lot more ideas if you go over to the Positive Parenting playlist on YouTube. Check it out.
It's right here on our channel. I think you'll enjoy it.
I saw her standing in the street alone. Her head was down, face locked onto her phone.